so interesting because I normally can do it on Facebook. I don't know what. It's okay. I know we got it. All right. Welcome, everyone. Excited to have you on today. Today is a very special day because I'm going to be introducing a very special person to you, a special little angel here. Her name is Miss Courtney White Gilbert, and she has a phenomenal story to share with you guys, with everyone. I'm gonna also try one more time to put this on my Facebook because I have more followers on Facebook than I do. It's okay. We're going with it. So what I would love to do is for you guys to hear Miss Courtney's story. As many of you guys know, I just went through a very, very challenging time. Actually, probably one of the toughest times in my life. I lost my goddaughter at a very young age, and she just had a 5-month-old baby. So our baby's just 5 months old. And to receive the call that she had passed from my best friend, it's like a sister. We grew up together. I lived with her. So very, very close. To hear the pain in her voice when she told me about my goddaughter's passing was one of the most difficult times of my life. And I really, and it's just interesting how God works in mysterious ways. I really started to think about how I was going to get through that time and help, more importantly, help my sister get through, or my best friend get through that time. And Courtney's story kind of stuck with me. And when I say that, I'm going to let Courtney share a little bit about her story and some of the advice she would give any of us who are going through the loss of a loved one and how she made it through that time. So Courtney, I'm turning it over to you, sis. Would you like to share your advice, a little bit about your story, your background, so people could get to know you?
Absolutely. Well, first off, thank you so much for having me on your broadcast. It's an honor and a privilege, and I appreciate the opportunity to share my story with everyone who will listen, pretty much. So I lost my husband to COVID-19 Thanksgiving of 2020. And when I tell you that changed my world forever, it's an understatement. It really is an understatement. And as Marshonda shared, it just really changes you, devastation, agonizing pain, when you lose somebody so close to you, a deep loss, it changes you. And I have to say, for me, I eventually had to lean on my faith. I had to lean on my faith. I had to lean on my family. But I say eventually because I'll be honest with you, when I lost my spouse initially, I was very angry at God. As long as I've been serving the Lord, because I am a Christian, I was furious with God because I just could not understand, me. I was like, God, how could you? How could you allow something like this to happen? Lord knows I prayed, I fasted, I did everything that I knew to do as a believer, as a wife, to stand in the gap, praying and believing for my husband to come through this. And in my mind, there was no reason why he shouldn't, the doctors basically had said beforehand, oh, he's healthy, he'll pull right through it. That's what the science was saying, and next thing I know, after he's been admitted to the hospital, 10 days later, he's gone, and that really rocked me. And, so I had that very transparent conversation with God. And I was like, you know what, God, I didn't sign up for this. You let me down. I pretty much felt that way. So I had told God that I was done and that I was just gonna, try this thing on my own. Because I really felt like he had dropped me, he had forgotten about me and all of that. But, that aside, I eventually got into counseling. I have a very good grievance counselor who I had used beforehand. So another little part of my story, this was my second marriage. I had been married before, back in 2011. And that husband actually walked out on me after less than 2 months of marriage. And, after that devastating experience, fast forward a few years later, I meet my second husband, who I really thought was the love of my life, and that was going to be my forever, happily ever after. And then he passes from COVID. So just to give you the backdrop as to why I was feeling some kind of way at that point, I'm like, God, am I even supposed to be married? Like, what is going on? So anyway, this grievance counselor, she was my grievance counselor when I was going through my divorce from my first husband. So that's why I shared that information with you. So, full circle, she ends up being my grievance counselor after losing my second husband, through death. I lost my first husband through divorce, and I lose my second husband through death. So God used her in a mighty way to help me navigate through that journey. I had biweekly sessions with her for a year, and she did a phenomenal job. And I also have to say that even though I told God that I was done with him, he clearly was not done with me. I tried to walk away, and he wouldn't let me. And when I say he wouldn't let me, he was pulling on me through others who stood in the gap for me when I couldn't pray, when I felt like I didn't want to pray. They prayed. And I'm so thankful for them. I'm so thankful for my support, because you would not see me the way that you see me right now. You would not. I really could have been balled up in a corner somewhere. I could have lost my mind. It just could have been a different way. But God, in his unfailing love, wrapped his arms around me even when I didn't want him to do that. He wrapped his arms around me through my family, through my friends, through my church family, through my counselor, through my colleagues. It was just an outpouring of love. And that's what got me through, was love. It was God's love that got me through in those different avenues. And now today, I can say that the thing that I value the most is a sound mind, believe it or not. I look back this time last year, I was going through my year of firsts, because I lost him Thanksgiving of 2020. So I had to go through my first Christmas, my first New Year's, my first everything, holiday, anniversary. I had to go through my first last year. So there was a lot of uncertainty with last year, but God was good to me, and he got me through that. And so fast forward last year to November of 2021, which made the year mark for me. God gave me a song, which ended up being my first single, called Seek Me. And that song was written out of the loss that I experienced with my husband. So funny thing is, my manager, who I believe is listening in, he called me. We weren't even, we didn't even have a connection at the time, with music. But he called me because God dropped me in his spirit, and he just called me and he said, "Hey, are you doing music?" And that was the most random thing to me, because it's not like we really even talk like that. But I said, "Yeah, actually, so I just wrote a song. I'm getting ready to go record it." And yeah, why did you ask that? And he told me, that God placed me in his spirit. And from there, we established a manager artist connection. And I went on to record my first song, and released it February of this year. And, it's been phenomenal to hear the feedback that I've gotten from people as to how much the song has touched them, how much it's ministered to them, uplifted them. I'm in awe, at how God is just taking this song and using it as a tool to draw people. So not only do I have the song out, which is on all major platforms. So if you go to Apple Music, if you go to iTunes, Spotify, Amazon Music, it's out there. Seek Me by Courtney White Gilbert. You will find it there. But I also had the honor of putting together a music video, which kind of gives a depiction of what I went through, getting the news of losing my spouse and how Seek Me came to be. So I encourage everybody to go online and check that out, the music video as well. So not only that, as far as performances, I haven't really had the opportunity to perform a lot yet, but I'm expecting that to change even with this summer. I have been to a coffee house type venue, and I performed live there, but I haven't performed my music yet, but I know that God is getting ready to open up those doors as well. But with that, I just want to say to anybody who has experienced a deep loss or a hardship, like I said, if it wasn't for my support system, like I said, I would not be here before you. But the main part of my support system is God. I would tell anybody that without a shadow of a doubt. And even if you end up, having times where you're angry at God like I was, one thing I can tell you is he can handle that. He can handle that. When I went through my divorce, I remember this mentor that I had, and she told me that it was okay to be angry with God. And she told me that he can handle that. And when she told me that, I felt such a freedom. And I carried that with me through the rest of my life, even, 10 years later, when I found myself losing my husband. And, I was very candid with God. I didn't hold anything back. That's like the worst thing that you can do when you're going through, is to try to hold everything in. I allowed myself to grieve. I went through that grieving process. I'm still in a journey. Don't get me wrong. I haven't arrived or anything like that. I mean, you never get over a deep loss. You just learn to live with it. And that's one of the best pieces of advice that my counselor gave me. And I appreciated her saying that. So even to somebody who is going through, there's no timeline. Your timeline is your timeline. But, if you have a relationship with God, I encourage you to lean into him now more than ever and go at your own pace. If you don't know God, I encourage you to try God, try him for yourself, and to lean into your circle, your support circle. Go through counseling. There is nothing wrong with asking for help. There is nothing wrong with that. It doesn't make you weak. If anything, it's a sign of strength, And I thank God for the woman that he's molded me into as a result of what I've gone through. And I'm thankful that I can reach others. Believe it or not, since I've lost my spouse, I have connected with about 10 women who have lost their spouses or partners since I lost mine. I never thought that was going to be part of my ministry, reaching out to other widows. But when you think about it, who better to reach out to other widows than a widow, or any type of loss for that matter, like if somebody has lost a job, somebody else who has lost a job and overcome that would probably be best suited to, connect with a person who just lost a job. So yeah, God ended up opening that door for me to minister, even in the smallest ways, to these other widows. So you never know what life is going to bring, but life happens to everybody, and that is a lesson that I've had to learn. I was angry at God because I thought that I would be exempt from certain things, such as losing a spouse at a young age, in my 30s, a widow. I didn't think that was something that, could happen to me. I was thinking, I'm going to grow old with my spouse and we're going to have children. And, because we were trying before he passed. all those things that people imagine, to have with their, in their happily ever after. I thought I was going to have that, almost kind of, I won't say felt like a sense of entitlement, but I just thought that as a child of God, I wouldn't go through that. But life does happen to everybody. And, it's by the grace of God that we're able to, as believers, overcome those things that happen in our life. So that's my story. Like I said, my song Seek Me is out there on all major platforms. If you're interested in booking me, my manager, who is a CEO of Just Praise Entertainment, is the one that you would reach out to. His name is Joseph Gibbons, and you can find him on Facebook or on Instagram, and you can book me through him. So I think I've touched on everything, Marshonda. Is there anything else that you would like me to talk about?
Wow, wow, wow. You are amazing. Praise God for you and your ministry and sharing your story with us, hon. And when I sent out the message to most people and said, if you want to get inspired, you have to meet Courtney, because you are just an inspiration to so many of us, sweetheart. I am so proud of you. And I'm so happy to have you. We are going to do this again, and we're going to connect, and I just know that God is getting ready to use you mightily, and we appreciate you. And before we jump off of here, grace us with that beautiful, beautiful voice. Oh my goodness, you guys got to get ready for this. You won't believe this. This young lady is phenomenal. Please, sister, grace us, grace us, grace us.
Absolutely. It would be my honor. So although I released my first single, Seek Me, which I shared is on all major platforms, I am actually getting ready to release a second single. And I just recently put out the promo clip. But because you guys have been gracious enough to join me and to listen to my story, I will be performing my second single here for the first time. So it is called Grief to Grace. So it's a cappella, but please be on the lookout for the official release sometime here in the near future. My grace is sufficient for thee. That's what you said to me. I will never leave nor forsake thee. I felt like you lied to me. I couldn't pray, couldn't praise, couldn't sing, couldn't dance. I was ready to walk away. And I meant it, and you knew it, but you wouldn't turn away. You brought me from grief to grace, from grace to great, and now I can say, brought me here today. You brought me from grief to grace, from grace to great, and now I can say, you brought me here today. My strength is made perfect in weakness, and Father, please strengthen me. You said, greater is he that is in me, then open my eyes to see. He said, I'll give joy for your sorrow, beauty for ashes, turn your mourning into dancing. I'll take you from glory to glory, and you will come out as pure gold. You brought me from grief to grace, from grace to great, and now I can say, you brought me here today. You brought me from grief to grace, from grace to great, and now I can say, you brought me here today. Didn't think I would make it, never thought I would be here today. Didn't think I would make it, never thought I would stand here and say, didn't think I would make it, Never thought I would be here today. Didn't think I would make it. Never thought I would stand. You brought me from grief to grace, from grace to great. And now I can say you brought me here today. You brought me from grief to grace, from grace to great. And now I can say you brought me here today. And now I can say you brought me here today. And now I can say you brought me here today. Thank you.
Oh, wow, wow, wow. Oh my goodness. You are amazing.
Amen.
We're so proud of you. We are so proud of you and how you're letting God use you in a mighty, mighty way. We thank you so much. We will do this again. So for those that are here, you had the opportunity to see and hear an amazing, amazing special soul. Please be on the lookout for our next interview and help us to take this word out to the world, and also to please put her on any of your platforms that you have. Share her with the world. We thank you all for joining us today. Have an awesome, awesome Sunday. We pray that this blessed you as much as it blessed me. Thank you, Courtney. We love you. And we will do this again. And I'll send you the recording from YouTube, and we'll get it up on Facebook as well. Have an awesome day, everybody.